You ever read your horoscope and just think, that's not me at all? Well, it turns out one of the oldest traditions on the planet says we might be looking at the wrong thing in the sky entirely. Okay, let's get into this. It's like the go-to icebreaker, right? What's your sign? We all have an answer. We know if we're a Leo, a Virgo, a Pisces. But what if I told you that for like thousands of years, that was completely the wrong question to be asking? Yeah, really. In Vedic astrology, which is also called Jyotish, asking about your sun sign just misses the whole point. If you want to get to what really makes you tick, you got to ask something totally different. All right, so what is your real sign then? Well, it all boils down to a major disagreement about how we should even be telling time, cosmically speaking. Okay, so here's the breakdown, and it's a big one. The astrology most of us in the West are familiar with, it's all about the sun. Your sign is just where the sun was when you were born. Simple. But Vedic astrology? It's all about the moon. Your real sign, your nakshatra, is based on where the moon was. They're literally looking at two totally different lights in the sky to figure you out. And look, this wasn't just some random choice they made, like flipping a coin. This whole difference is baked into two completely different ways of tracking time itself. We're talking about two cosmic clocks. So you've got the Western calendar we all use. That's a solar calendar. Then you have the Islamic calendar, which is purely lunar. But the Vedic system, it's this really cool hybrid. It's luno-solar. It actually tracks both, and it's got this super clever way of making them play nice together. Let's get into the nitty-gritty for a sec. A solar year, right? The time it takes for Earth to go around the sun. We all know this one. It's about 365 and a quarter days. But a lunar year, that's based on 12 full moon cycles, and it's shorter. It's only about 354 days long. And, well, right there, you can see the problem starting to form. Every single year, you get this gap of almost 11 days. And that doesn't sound like much, but it adds up fast. After a few years, your calendar is totally out of whack with the seasons. So, how do you fix a problem like that? Well, the Vedic solution is just brilliant. It's this concept called Adhik Mas. It's basically an extra month that they stick into the calendar every couple of years to get the solar and lunar cycles back in sync. And this isn't some newfangled idea. They're talking about this in the Rig Veda, which is one of the oldest texts in human history. Incredible. Okay, but why? Why go through all that trouble? What's the big deal with the moon anyway? The answer is, well, it gets into some really deep philosophy about what it even means to be human. So in Vedic thinking, the sun, Surya, is seen as fiery, intense, even a bit cruel. It represents your soul, your Atman, and also your ego. But the moon, Chandra, is the complete opposite. It's healing, it's cool, and it represents the mind, or manas. And in this worldview, it's your mind that shapes everything. Your experiences, your choices, your feelings. The whole shebang. There's this amazing analogy they use. Your body might be the boat, but your mind is the ship's captain, the one steering you across the huge ocean of life. If the captain's not in good shape, that journey is gonna be rough. That's why the moon, the ruler of the mind, is so, so important. And this isn't just some abstract philosophical idea. This reverence for the moon is woven right into the fabric of Hindu mythology in these incredible, epic stories that explain where the moon came from and why it's always changing. Okay, so there's this amazing story called The Churning of the Ocean. You've got the gods on one side, demons on the other, and they're churning this massive cosmic ocean to get the nectar of immortality. As they're churning, all these divine treasures pop out, and one of them is the moon god himself, this symbol of peace and healing. He was so pure that Lord Shiva actually placed him on his head. Then there's another story that explains why the moon has faces. So the moon was married to the 27 daughters of a king named Daksha. And these daughters, they're also the 27 star constellations, the nakshatras. But the moon had a favorite wife, and when his father-in-law found out, he was furious. He cursed the moon to completely lose his light. And as the moon started to fade, everything on Earth started to wither and die. All the gods freaked out and begged for mercy, so the curse was changed. The moon would still fade away, but he would always grow back, creating this endless cycle of waxing and waning, a constant reminder of the ups and downs of life itself. So you see, this is way more than just telling time or telling cool stories. This intense focus on the mind makes Vedic astrology feel a lot like a practical tool, almost like an ancient form of psychology. And this brings up a really interesting cultural difference. In the West, if you're having a tough time mentally, you might go see a psychiatrist. But in many parts of India, it's totally normal to go see an astrologer for that kind of guidance. They're seen as the experts who can read the map of your mind. So how do they do that? An astrologer will look at your birth chart and check the condition of your moon. Is it debilitated? That just means it's in a weak spot. Is it afflicted by Rahu? Rahu is a shadow planet that can stir up confusion. And who is the moon hanging out with? Is it conjunct or next to fiery Mars? That might make you hyperactive. Is it next to the gloomy Saturn? That could point to a tendency for negative thoughts. It's basically a diagnostic system for your mental and emotional programming. When you really get down to it, this choice between the sun and the moon, it's not just about astrology. It reflects two totally different ways of looking at the world and what it even means to be a person. Let's break down this worldview clash. The sun-focused Western view, it tends to be really individualistic. Your identity is all about you, your job, your status, what you accomplish. Society is a bunch of individuals, all chasing their own dreams. But the moon-focused Vedic view is all about relationships. Your identity is defined by who you're connected to, your family, your community, your people. The focus isn't on the solo act, it's on the whole web of connections. So, here's the big takeaway from all this. What we choose to look at in the sky says a lot about what we value down here on Earth. And it leaves us with a really deep question to think about for ourselves. When you think about who you really are, is your sense of self defined by your own solitary achievements or by your deep connections to others? Are you the sun or are you the moon?